Hi guys, Olivia here, Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. Today is Friday, November 13th, and I am back for my stitching update. It has been 2 weeks since my last one, so I hope you have all been well and you've been stitching and making and creating all of the things. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. This is a video podcast about cross-stitching and sometimes quilting. However, if you are not interested in seeing the quilts, I show those later on in the video, and I let you know in plenty of time that they will be making an appearance, so that way you can go on to the next Flosstube video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I hope you've had a great 2 weeks since we last sat down to chat, and that as you can probably tell behind me, I have switched out all of the Halloween decorations for my Thanksgiving decorations. The pumpkin patch quilt that I finished a few months back is now hanging on the wall, and I absolutely love it. The pattern's name is Pumpkin Patch Quilt, and I did get it out of the Primitive Quilts and Projects magazine. It was fall 2014, and I absolutely love it. I made it out of all Civil War Reproduction fabrics, and just all of those colors are, that's what I mean, these are my favorite colors of fall. So I enjoy having it out. And it's brand new. I used to have another quilt that I hung there that I did retire. It was a big basket of fall leaves that I did out of batik fabrics. And I decided last year I wanted something a little bit new, something that kind of fits in with the primitive vibes that I'm kind of going for in my decor, and I love it. Of course, the tree is now decorated for Thanksgiving. I do have a couple of cross-stitch pieces in there, as well as some cross-stitch that was gifted to me last year. So I look forward to it. This tree and the one that's out in the other room is decorated for Thanksgiving. So what have I been up to? The last couple of weeks have been incredibly busy for me. I have had quilts coming in. The quilters in my area are keeping me very, very busy. I thought by this point I would be done with the quilting and I would be able to focus on project bag making, but instead I got a little slammed and I've fallen a little bit behind. I'm hoping next week I'll be able to catch back up again. So that's basically what I've been doing. I have been working on project bags. I have them to the point where all I need to do is now assemble them. I just need to find the time to assemble them. So hopefully next week. I know I've had a lot of requests for project bags, and please continue to be patient with me. I'm trying the best I can to get to them. I did have a couple of questions in my last video. Barbara wanted to know, do I leave linen in my hoop when I stop stitching for a while? I do not. If let's say in the case of Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain, since I knew it was going to not be in my rotation for a while, I did go ahead and take it off of the Q-snap. I actually only have I have two Q-snaps, a couple of hoops, and then I have 2 scroll frames. And what happens is anything that I'm working on currently within my 2-week rotation, I do leave it hooked up to the Q-snaps, or if it's in the case of my morning stitch, it stays in the hoop. And then like Brian's stocking is in my scroll frame. Those get left in what they are in for the 2 weeks that I am working on them, other than to take them out to adjust them. And then when I show my video, I take them out, I iron, press them, and all of that. And then depending on, am I going to work on them the following week or not, will determine whether I go ahead and load it back into the Q-snap, the hoop, the scroll frame. But if I know that something is going to be sitting for a while, I do take it off of whatever it is that I have in, and then I fold it and put it in the project bag that it's in, or the Ziploc, or whatever storage container. I go ahead and I put it in there without being hooked up to anything. Diane wanted to know, in regards to the quilt that is behind me, she wanted to know what pantograph I used for the pumpkin quilt. So I do not use pantographs. And if you're wondering what a pantograph is, It's a narrow sheet of paper that has a quilting motif all the way across it. And on the quilt machine, there is a stylus, and you point the stylus at the pantograph and you follow the lines, and it transfers the image onto the quilt. So this quilt behind me, I used dense swirls, and I free motion quilt them myself. And then I got this question a whole bunch. So in my last video, I talked a little bit about the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit that was hosted by Acorns and Threads, and I showed the Paulette Stewart chart, which is Gather with Grateful Hearts. The chart and the kit was exclusive to the retreat. I do understand that at some point down the road it will be released, but as of right now, it's just exclusively for those who attended the retreat, and then like everything else, it will be released at some point down the road. Mary wanted to know what is my favorite reproduction fabric designer, and I have two. The first one is Joe Morton, and the second one is Pam Buddha. And then Karen wanted to know, in regards to my Anniversaries of the Heart, how I pick which relatives are going to go into which blocks. So when I first started out, I only had the first couple of relatives that I knew for sure that was going to go in it, and they were both my two great-grandmothers and my husband's parents. And then once I got done with those, well, at least the first two blocks, then I knew like February, since my son Ethan, his birthday is in February, I knew that he needed to be in the February block. And Allison was going to be in the August block because her birthday is in August. The October block, I think it's number 10 that's in the series, the Pumpkin Farm. Is it Pumpkin Farm? I can't remember. That particular one, I knew I wanted to stitch it for my husband and myself because I love pumpkins. Our anniversary is in November. So I knew right away that one was going to be for us. The farmhouse I knew was going to be for my grandparents because they were farmers. And so as I started looking at the blocks as a whole, it just sort of started appearing to me that, you know, this block was perfect for this person and that block was perfect for that person. And then there was a few that I wasn't quite sure about until I got a little bit closer, and then Ewald and Pearl got Moonlight Visitor. And so it just kind of came to me after I got past some of the ones that I knew for sure that those particular charts were going to be for those particular people. And the last question was from Sandy, who wanted to know if I'd been hearing from any of my subscribers about not receiving email notifications when a new video posts. So what she's referring to is when you're watching a video, and let's say you've subscribed to the channel, and then there's a little bell, and you can hit that bell and it will notify you whenever that channel has a new video that's been uploaded to YouTube. I have not heard from anyone saying that they haven't been receiving the email notifications. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I know that there's been some, people have uploading issues. Sometimes I can't always see the comments. And like the other day, the YouTube was down for a couple of hours, and I don't know what was going on. I mean, I've heard some things, but I don't know. So also another thing, YouTube is owned by Google, and I know that Google has been going in and they've been taking away certain services. And so maybe the email notifications was one of those things that they are no longer doing. It should be that when you hit that button to be notified, it should be one of the first videos you see when you log on to YouTube. And I'll pay attention and see if some of mine are coming up, or I don't know. There's been some issues. I don't know. Hopefully they get it fixed, but I'm going to pay a little bit better attention now that you've said something, and I'll see what happens, and I'll report back. So in my last video, I talked a little bit about all of the kitting that I have been doing over the past couple of months. there were, you know, I went through my stash and I pulled out charts that I had either purchased earlier on or charts that I knew that I wanted to stitch. And I have been slowly kitting them, either using floss from my stash or purchasing new floss and linen. Because, you know, I'm fairly new back into the cross-stitching world. I've only really been cross-stitching for 5 years now. And so I don't really have a big stash of, like, let's say 36 count or 40 count. And it seems like a lot of the stuff that I am going to be working on next year is going to be 36, 37, 40. So it required, you know, kind of gathering all of the supplies for the things that I plan on working on next year. But after, you know, the year ends, I've put myself on sort of a freeze. And I'm pretty much done. I only have a few other little threads I need to pick up here and there. But other than that, I'm pretty much done. I feel like I'm in a very good place. I like everything that I have been kitting up, and I'm looking forward to stitching all of it next year. Of course, in looking at the volume, it'll probably be more of a 2-year project, but that's okay. You know, everything that I got is things that I've been wanting to stitch for a really long time, and so I'm really looking forward to the stuff I have to stitch for next year. One of the things that I mentioned that I was going to be picking up is Stacy Nash Primitive's Blackwater Hollow. And I've had this one on my wish list for a couple of years now. I've really been looking forward to picking this one up. It sold out a couple of times, but I was able to get it from Jen's Stitching Niche. And I was also able to pick up threads for 3 projects that I had been working on kitting up. And I am really excited to be, I love this one. I think someone commented in my last video that this sampler is very, like understated, because it is such a beautiful sampler when it's done, and I am really looking forward to stitching it. I've seen it done in a couple of Flosstuber videos. I've seen it on Instagram on like sampler walls, and I am just really looking forward to stitching it this next year. And I have a piece of 32 count linen that I tea coffee dyed that I will be stitching it on. And then also I did pick up some threads from Jen, and Jen watches my videos, and she knew my birthday was coming up, and so she included a little something extra for a gift. So she sent these 2 little tin beehives that are perfect and like finishing, and I mean really the possibilities are endless for adding these to anything you're decorating with. You know, they're just little embellishments, and so they're so cute. I love them. And then this is a little needle vial. That's probably not the correct word for it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of needles in here, and I'm going to stick them in my purse, because the last time that I took my son to the dentist, I took stitching with me, and I got all the way there and I didn't have a needle. So I'm going to think ahead, and I'm going to put some needles in here, and I'm going to stick it in my purse. And then she sent me the threads from her Hey Chickie limited edition. And you can buy these threads together. Let me get them. I've been looking at them. So here they are. And actually, all 3 of these I already have plans for. For instance, this one, I have been having a hard time finding Gentle Arts mustard seed, and so this is going to be perfect to use in place of mustard seed. And then these 2 threads here are going to go in a Brenda Gervais, is it Thankful, Grateful, Blessed by Brenda Gervais, and I needed a roof, and this one was going to be for something else in it. But they're perfect, so they're already going into a project, so it's perfect. But thank you so much, Jen. It was such a sweet little surprise. And already I have plans for all of it. So thank you so much. I also did get, this is block 5 of 12 of the Prim Stitch series. It's called Beauty and Simplicity, and this is by Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet. I get mine from the Fat Quarter Shop. I always want to refer to it as a club because I don't know why. It's not, that's just what I refer to it as. So this is the 5th block in the series, and I'm still trying to decide, do I want to stitch them all together? Do I want to stitch them as little ornaments? Because they would look cute either way. So I don't have immediate plans to start this. I'm leaning towards possibly this summer beginning to kit it up, but I really do need to figure out what I want to do. I have a feeling I'm going to stitch it all in one piece. All of these blocks remind me of the cross stitch pieces that my grandma used to stitch, so I have a lot of nostalgia. When I look at these, it just completely takes me back to watching her stitch, and the motifs and the little, I mean, everything about it reminds me of my grandma, and I'm looking forward to stitching that. All right, I had to pause my video because my dog was barking. He heard the UPS driver. He barks at everything, and sometimes there's not even anything for him to bark about. I always say he must be barking at dead people, because you look outside expecting to see like burglar, intruder, the way that he's carrying on, and there's nothing out there. Not even a bird. I mean, there's nothing out there that he could possibly be barking at. And he just, I don't know. My husband thinks he hears the road noise, it echoes, and he thinks sometimes that he's hearing some of that. But yeah, it totally spooked me. I was not expecting it because he was sleeping. The last thing that I got is, this is the 2021 Book of Days by Needlework Press. So I've been using the 2020 Book of Days that came out did it come out last year? I didn't get it till February, like January, February, because it had been sold out, and I went up to Acorns and Threads and I saw it there, and I bought it. It has been very helpful for me because, you know, I'm able to go in, I keep track of you know, what I'm working on, and I can write down what linen I'm using. If it's a stitch along, I can put the hashtag here. It just really helps to keep me very, very organized. I love the little sayings. It's just, it's a very useful tool. And I ended up picking up mine from the Silver Needle. They had a pre-order option, and I was able to pre-order it. I also pre-ordered, which I don't think I said in my last video, I showed Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Gervais, and I had pre-ordered that from the Silver Needle as well. They have great customer service. As soon as they get it in, they ship it out. So I went ahead and pre-ordered it from them. I did receive a little bit of happy mail the past couple of weeks. Susan Strong, she sent me this cute little card. She told me that her mom made these cards, and I loved the sweet note inside, so thank you so much. She also, well, we were supposed to meet each other at the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, and then, as you know, like everything else, it got canceled and it went to virtual. At some point, I hope that there will be an in-person retreat again, and that Susan and I will finally get to meet each other. But she knew that I had got the Women of the Mayflower kit, and I got the little Pilgrim boy. So she sent me, I'm just gonna hold it up like this, she sent me the little Pilgrim girl. Isn't that so sweet? Because she said that since I have a boy and a girl, I needed a boy and a girl needle minder. So sweet, so thank you so much. And again, I loved your sweet note, and I really do hope we get to meet each other sooner rather than later. I also, from Carol Crago, she sent me this cute birthday card. So thank you so much, Carol. I don't usually like broadcast when my birthday is, but it was yesterday. So I did start Anne Priest, and I have that to show here in a few minutes. Another little bit of birthday happy mail that I got was from my twin, Kristie at Crosshatch Quilts. She sent me this card. And Yvette, Carol, Kristie, and I were swapping quilt blocks, and so she sent me my quilt block, which I have all 4 of your guys' quilt blocks, or 3 of your guys' plus mine, and I will be sending those out next month. So that is my block, and I love it. It's my favorite colors. And then she sent me a Kristie bag, and I'm so excited. I love it. I love this fabric line. I just love it. I see why everybody goes gaga for them. It's just so beautiful. So thank you so much. I was so excited when I opened it up. So the chart, or the project that I have been keeping in my Kristie bag, is Feast of Friendship. So thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So before I show you what I worked on over the past couple of weeks, I have to tell you that I almost quit cross stitching last week. I actually don't really understand what happened, unless I was struck blind multiple times, because I still don't really understand. You know, even when I was thinking about doing my video today and talking about what I had been working on, and you know, and how it all went, I still don't really understand how I made the mistakes that I did. They were counting errors, and they were very obvious counting errors. And I did it on Brian's stocking. I ended up having to rip out a whole section. It was basically sometime I guess it would have been Saturday. No, it was the Saturday before. So it would have been the Saturday before my video. I took a wrong stitch then. And then, of course, because I don't work on his stocking until the following weekend, I just picked up where I had left off. And when it got closer to, you know, because usually I'll stitch from like 9 to 11. And I'm just stitching. And then I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little bit tired. It's about time to start putting stuff away, but I'm just going to go finish this one little area. And I go and I get my thread and I, you know, go to put it into the linen. I'm like, this doesn't look right. Why doesn't anything look right? And it's sort of that situation where you're looking at a foreign language. You don't understand any of it. And you're like, what the heck? Like, what in the heck? And of course, some multiple sentence enhancers were said, because I immediately discovered that somehow I had taken all the stitches that, you know, let's say all the stitches were supposed to be up here, and I had put them way down here. So I had this whole open section. So the way that the stocking went, so instead of the stocking going like this, it went whoop. I still don't understand what happened. So I ripped it all out. I got that seam ripper and I popped all those stitches out, and it had basically, I was mad because it was 2 hours of my day that were completely gone. I had to rip everything out that I had done, and I was just extremely frustrated. So the next day, I sat down and I started stitching on it like mid-afternoon, and I got a fair bit done. So this is Victorian Father Christmas by Stony Creek Magazine. This is the summer 2015 issue. I am stitching this stocking for my husband Brian, and he still is petitioning me to frame it instead of putting it into a stocking. And I said, no, it's going to be a stocking. But he still tries every now and again to say, why couldn't you just frame it? And then we'll just hang my stocking below it. And I'm like, no. So here is my progress. So where the mistake was, and there was a ton of confetti stitching right in here. So the line of the stocking came this way and then it went down. I still don't understand. I still don't understand. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 28 count white Lugana with the called for everything. And one thing I decided to change was when I got to, so originally I had said when I finished the second page, I was going to go back in and do all the back stitching that is up in here. But upon looking at page 3 and page 2, I realized the back stitching, there's not a whole lot of it. So I went ahead and started page 3. So I'm very excited. I sat down last Sunday and I probably got 5 solid hours of stitching on this. So in the day, so before dinner, I finished all of this, and then in the evening, I worked on this and then down here. So this is my progress so far, and I love it, and he looks amazing in person. And with this new light that I have, it's actually making him show up a heck of a lot better than he was with just my regular camera and the light and the natural light coming in. So he looks so good, and I am so looking forward to having him finished this year, hopefully in December. And no, Brian, I am not framing it. It is going to be a stocking. Okay, next up, I had a new birthday start, and this one, I started it on my birthday. I got about an hour and a half of stitching on it, and it's actually going to be put away until after I finish Anniversaries and Brian's stocking, and that is Anne Priest by the Scarlett House. So this is one that had been on my radar for a really long time. I had hesitated, and I would put it in my shopping cart before I could buy it. It would sell out, and so for a year we just sort of went back and forth, and then finally I saw it for sale on Hobby House Needleworks, and I snagged it. And I decided to start it on my birthday. Not a whole lot of progress. I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count caramel by Saraphim Fabrics. And this is a really big piece of fabric, but I'm going to leave it all as one piece because the other chart that I got to also stitch with this Mary Finney, I want to make sure that I have enough for Anne Priest before I cut it. So I'll just have to deal with a little bit of extra fabric for a little while. This is the threads. They are beautiful browns and greens. There's some maroon in there. Really, really beautiful. I also have the little thread bling that Yvette sent me. It's a squirrel because this is definitely my squirrel project. Did I need to start it right now? No, I didn't, but I did it because I wanted to, and it was my birthday, and I wanted to start it. Next up is Plum Street Samplers, Olga's Autumn Stocking. I also started this with Yvette. We started it on the last Wednesday in September. We are only working on it on Wednesdays, and this is my progress. So this is a piece of 36 count vintage purled barley, and I'm stitching it with all the called for threads 1/2, and I'm also stitching 1/2 on Anne Priest as well. So I love it. I mean, I love autumn, so working on this stocking is an absolute pleasure. And I got the house done, and the next thing that I'm going to do is just continue to work my way up until I finish this section, and then I'll drop down. So I love it. I'm hoping to have it done before next autumn. I feel like it's pretty doable. I know Yvette and I have kind of talked about it, and I feel like we'll probably finish it sometime, maybe late spring, maybe, I hope, maybe summer, I hope. And the threads for that is right here. So this is all of the called for threads, and I have the thread bling that Yvette also made me. And just beautiful. All of these are my favorite colors. I just love it. Just such a great bundle of fabric, or great bundle of threads. Next up is Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs. So there is a stitch along going on Instagram. It is hosted by Lori Holt, Be in My Bonnet, and Kristie, Crosshatch Quilts. I don't think it originally started out as a stitch along, except between the two of them. They decided to stitch this piece to celebrate their friendship. And so many of us were inspired, and so we decided to join them. They do have a hashtag, and I will make sure to scroll it, because I can't remember the way the words went, and I meant to look and I meant to write them down, and I forgot. So I will make sure to I'll scroll it, and I will also put it down in the description box below. I am stitching it on a piece of 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus with all of the with most of the called for threads. I believe there are a few that I substituted, but this is my progress. I only worked on it once over the past 2 weeks, and I think it was just to kind of finish over in here. My plan is to finish stitching the bowl. There's that Feast of Friendship that goes across the bottom. I'm gonna fill this in and then go over and fill that in, and then work on the pumpkin in the house. So I think I'll be working on this one for a little while. That house is no joke. I mean, that's got a ton of stitches in it. And I thought I read somewhere it has 5,000, but that can't be right. Maybe they were embellishing, or maybe not. I mean, it looks like there's 5,000 stitches. But I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful piece. I'm having a lot of fun working on Feast of Friendship, and I am also stitching it 1/2 on 36 count. This is the threads, and I absolutely love these threads. I'm hoping that, I mean, I'm not going to put myself on any sort of deadline to have it finished, but I would kind of like to get it done before the end of the year also. I feel like it's very doable, but it just kind of depends on how the next 2 weeks goes as far as, you know, my stitch rotation, and it just kind of depends. But I know at some point I have to finish either my Anniversaries or Brian's stocking, and I know once I do that, I'll be working on Feast of Friendship a lot more than just like maybe 1 or 2 days here and there. Next up is Evergreen Lane by Blackbird Designs. So in my last video, I don't remember if I had the border started or if I had I feel like I did have I don't remember. But when I started working on the border, I got it done in like an evening, and I was feeling very confident that this block was gonna go really, really fast. I was like, yes, we're gonna nail it. We're gonna get this block done. We're gonna take a week off, then we're gonna start the next one. Then we're gonna take another week off, and then we're gonna hit that bonus block, and we're gonna be done by the middle of December. It's gonna be great. And then I had a counting error. And I didn't realize it until I had almost the whole one side of the house done. And then I had to go rip it out. And then I restitched it. And then I made the same counting mistake, and I had to go back and I had to rip it out again. And then I had to fix the porch because it like some of the stitches, it just was a mess. And then I finally fixed it for the 3rd time, and the house was stitched. And here's my progress. So I did manage to finish the Evergreen Lane. I finished it on Tuesday night, and I really did celebrate. I was never so happy to be finished. It's a beautiful block, and I love the colors. I stitched this for my husband's maternal grandparents, Howard Fuller and Mary Crowley. And I mean, it's beautiful. I did change a lot of the colors, but I cannot believe I had as many counting errors as I did. It was absolutely ridiculous. And just, you know, giving one extra stitch in the porch, and you'd get it all filled in, and you think, this doesn't look right. This isn't a wrap around, and so I'd have to rip it out again. But it is done, and I love it, and I am very excited to get on to the next block, which will be stitched for my parents. But I've really been enjoying this. I know several people commented on my Instagram saying that they were going to be very sad when I was done stitching my Anniversaries. They have really enjoyed my progress. And do not worry, because next year, just about every single sampler is going to have some relative on my family tree in it. So I'll have lots more stories to talk about. So it's been so much fun. I'm stitching it on a piece of 35 count sand. The question I get asked a lot is the size of the linen. And so my linen is 19.5 by 27.5. And I am stitching 2/2 on 35 count. So my plans, before I show you the next block, this is the thread that I did use. These things are pretty thrashed because I have used all of these in several of my projects. So they're really looking kind of sad. In fact, one of the DMC bobbins is broke and I just kind of barely have it hanging on. So that is, yeah, it's a very sad batch of floss. So my plans are to start working on this one. I will be stitching this one for my parents. My parents are not married, but I felt like since I had my husband's parents, and I just sort of felt like I needed to incorporate them. I wasn't sure how to do it because they have been divorced now for 20, how old am I? 24 years? No, 23 years maybe. But they don't like each other, and that's putting it very mildly. So I wasn't sure, like, should I put them in my sampler? You know, how do I want to do it? And then I finally decided that that they needed to be in there. They were my parents, you know, they had 3 children, they were married. They should be in here since my husband's parents are also in the sampler. So what I've decided to do is I am going to put my dad's name up here and put my mom's name down here. I'll put the initials of myself and my brothers, and I will put the year that they got married, like, right in here. I haven't pulled the colors yet, but I think this block should go fairly quickly. I'm hoping that I can count properly. But I'm excited to get to this one. This is the last like block of the series. The next one is the bonus block, which is also in with this chart as well. And I've already decided that either right in here or right over here, I am going to stitch Freddie. And I'm going to do him like I did Molly, where I did 1 over 1. So he'll just kind of be hanging out either right here or right here. Haven't decided yet. But I'm down to the last booklet, and there is a part of me that's a little bit sad. It was my New Year, New Start this year, and I'm very attached to it. I'm already thinking about frames, how I want it framed. My husband thinks I should put a mat around it. I don't know. Haven't really decided yet, and I really don't want to rush into anything, but I am excited to have it finished and have it on my wall. Yes, I will be putting all of my relatives and my husband's relatives' information inside an envelope in the back. And when I do get the anniversaries all done, I'm going to have a separate video where I show each block, and if I can, the relative who the block is for in pictures. There's only one relative I am not sure that I'm going to be able to find pictures for, and that is Ewald. But I do have a picture of Pearl. But that is, hopefully, will be later on, towards the end of December. So, and then last, I did also have another finish. This one is Pumpkin Hollow by Lori Ripley, Homespun Prims by Lori, and here is a picture of it. It's a PDF pattern. I don't think that she does hard copies. I think it's just PDFs. And here is my finish. So I just finished this yesterday. This was the third one that I had issues with. And I actually, so what happened was I was stitching here. And so in my family, if I were to leave it the way it was charted, it says pumpkin, but not pumpkin. So anytime anybody saw it spelled P-U-M-K-I-N, they would say, well, you forgot the P. And I didn't want to have to listen to that. So Tina at For Love of the Stitches, she was also stitching this one, and she shared with me how she squeezed the P in there. So I got pumpkin done, and I was working on the bird, and I noticed that this border did not line up where it was supposed to. And here and here, that line was supposed to be 1 stitch down. and while it matched over here, it didn't match over here. So I'm thinking I must have made a mistake in this, you know, this border side, but I could not find any mistake. I couldn't find any mistake over here. And then I took the hoop off, and my second stitch, which was over here, I messed up. And so I took the first stitch, took the second stitch, messed up right from the beginning. And I didn't catch it until I was all the way over here. So I had to rip out this whole border, and then I could go and stitch it back again. And it's just going to be messed up. I had already set this, and I already had set these, so everything was one stitch down, but I decided to leave it. You can't really tell. And if somebody comes over and says, oh, well, this isn't centered, I don't need to be friends with them. So in the chart, it has the word Nettie and aged 8. I decided to put our last name of Gust and then 1998 for when we were married. I'm going to see about framing this. I'm going to check to see what frames I have out in the dungeon. And if I can't find anything, I'll have to figure out something else, because I really do kind of want it framed. I don't really have a whole lot of framed Thanksgiving pieces, and so this would be kind of nice to have out. Also, because it's pumpkin hollow, I was definitely partial to it. But because originally I thought, well, maybe I'd do it like Tina did, where she made it into a small pillow, but then I kind of like the idea of framing it. So we'll see. And I should have it, hopefully, I don't know, the way things are going, and I'm going to try my hardest to maybe frame it over this weekend. So in my last video, I did have a couple of charts that I gave away. And two of the charts, the 2 Anniversaries of the Heart charts, were sent to me by Trish to be done as a giveaway. She had some extras in her stash, and she wanted to pass them along, and so she sent them to me for me to give away in my video. And I also let her pick. The giveaway question was, what is your favorite motif to stitch in a sampler? And I loved reading through all of your guys' responses. Some of you were surprised that I didn't say a house. I said a pumpkin instead. Pumpkins are my absolute favorite thing to make and to stitch, but stitching houses is a very close second. So it was really hard to pick which one, but I felt like I really had to go with pumpkin. But I enjoyed reading through everybody's responses, and thank you so much to everybody who commented. I really do appreciate it so much. So the winners, because all told, I had 3 charts that I gave away. So the first winner is for the farmhouse block, and that is Teresa MC. So congratulations, Teresa. I'm going to comment on your comment. The next winner is for Moonlight Visitor, and that is Sheila Hudson. So congratulations. I'm also going to comment on your comment. And for the Mrs. Baxter's House by Stacy Nash, 123 Stitch accidentally sent this to me, and they did not want it back, and I already have it in my stash, so I decided to give it away. And I'm sorry if I butcher this, but the winner is Meezer Meow My. So congratulations. And I am also going to comment on your comment. So if all of you guys could get a hold of me via email, it is pumpkinhollowquilting@gmail.com. That would be fabulous to give me your address, so that way I can get these out in the mail and on their way to you. Again, I will comment on all 3 of your comments, letting you know that you are the winners. And again, congratulations, and thank you so much for playing. I really do appreciate it so much. Originally, I was going to do a giveaway in this video, but unfortunately, I did not get the project bag made. So I will make that a priority to have that made for my next video. But I really do appreciate all of you guys who subscribe to my channel, who come back to see what I have been up to every 2 weeks, who comment, who follow me across all my social media platforms. I really do appreciate you guys so much. I have the very best subscribers, and honestly, I would not be where I am at today without you guys. So thank you so much. As far as this video goes, and I think I'm gonna pause it really quick so I can grab Freddie. All right, say hi, Fred. Say hi. So as you can see, he did get a haircut. He was not very cooperative, and so it's very butchered. He does have some long hairs that do hang down into his eyes. It's a little bit uneven in places. He was not being very accommodating. So I'm hoping that as time goes on, he will be a little bit better behaved so that they are able to cut his hair. But it was so nice seeing his beautiful eyes that he's so adorable. We just love him, even though he's been a little bit of a stinker lately, but we love him. I did just wake him up from his nap. He also had a bath, so he's a little bit, he's still a little bit damp, but yeah, he's absolutely adorable. So sorry about that. I had to pause really quickly because Freddie, for whatever reasons, decided to bark again. And in the meantime, a very dark rain cloud moved overhead. I actually have the front windows open now because it was really dark in here. So I do apologize. Luckily, I'm done showing everything, so it won't, I don't know. I'm new to this whole light tripod setup. So hopefully everything went well. The picture looks good, all the things. Anyway, so as always, I will be back in 2 weeks. I hope you have a great one. I believe my next video comes out after Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great one if you celebrate it. If you do not, I hope you have a great couple of weeks and that you get lots of stitching done and that you don't miscount like I did a whole bunch. If you have any questions, you can always leave them for me down in the comment section down below, and I will do my very best to answer them or address them in my video. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If you want to see what I am up to every 2 weeks, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, or I do have a Facebook page, which is Pumpkin Hollow Quilting. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful 2 weeks, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Wow, it is really dark. Bye-bye.